In 1992, the French jewelry company Cartier released Pasha de Cartier in an Eau de Toilette format, and almost 30 years later, in 2020, they released the Parfum version. There have been various flankers in between all of those decades, but today I'll be taking a look at both of those fragrances, putting them up against each other, comparing them, contrasting them, giving you my thoughts, telling you which one I prefer. And yeah, these are two fragrances that I have been enjoying a lot recently. So if you're interested in these fragrances, stay tuned to hear my thoughts. What's going on, guys? Raj here. Welcome to the channel if you're a first-time viewer, or welcome back if you have been here before and you are a subscriber. So you guys might have heard me mention these two fragrances recently. I mentioned the EDT version of Pasha de Cartier in my spring fragrances list. So check that video out if you haven't already. And I have actually reviewed the Parfum version, so I have done a video just dedicated to that fragrance. Again, I'll leave the link down below to that spring list and also to the Parfum review down below in the description box. And what I thought I would do today is just put these fragrances up against each other and yeah, give you my thoughts on both of them. Also, I'd like you to do the same. If you like one of these or both of these fragrances, or if you're not a fan, let me know what do you think, where are the differences are, which one do you actually prefer. But yeah, so let's get into it. Let's kick things off with the EDT, the original that came out in 1992, and the perfumer behind this one is Jacques Cavalier. He is especially even nowadays still producing really great fragrances. If you look back at his like resume or list of fragrances that he has created, there have been some really popular fragrances and very well made ones. I believe he's the in-house perfumer for Louis Vuitton, or he's like their go-to man. And I have actually been watching a couple of videos on YouTube produced by Louis Vuitton where they talk with Jacques Cavalier. They walk through the place where the fragrances are made, or like the headquarters. I've completely forgotten the name of that place, Maison Fontanet or something along those lines. And Jacques Cavalier, his daughter, is kind of in training, or he is training her to become, I guess, a perfumer. I don't really know if she's made any fragrances or anything like that, but watch the space, I guess. So anyway, bit of a tangent. The EDT version, or the EDT version of Pasha contains notes of, in the top, lavender, mint, caraway, anise, and mandarin. So you've got herbal, fresh, spicy elements, juicy citruses. In the middle, there's coriander and rosewood. So a little bit, spices, woods. Base notes of oak moss, sandalwood, patchouli, and labdanum. So there's lots of different things going on in this fragrance. And I don't know why it's taken me so long to discover this fragrance or properly test it. I might have tried it like once or something, in a store, but nothing that really I could remember. So it's good to get my nose on this fragrance, almost 30 years after being released. A couple of things that came to mind when I have been testing this, and I'm about halfway through my 10 ml decant. So one thing I thought of is that this fragrance, as I said, came out in the early 90s. And I feel like this was a period of, or a decade, you could say, of change within the fragrance industry, specifically men's. I'm talking about men's marketed fragrances. We were, I guess, coming away from the more heavy oak moss 80s powerhouse style fragrances. And I don't really know what kicked that all off, but maybe it was Cool Water that was released by Davidoff in 1988. And then you had the likes of Acte de Jour, L'Odyssée, Porom by Issey Miyake. And this fragrance feels very transitional. So it has some darker elements, some spicy woody elements, but it also has an injection of freshness in here. So it is like a balance of two different kind of sort of densities, really. You know, a light style, lightness coming from mint and orange, which gives a nice zesty brightness to this fragrance, but also you got the spices in there. I pick up a little bit of cumin. Cumin is not listed, caraway is listed, coriander, star anise. Maybe all of them are combining with some of the woodier elements of this fragrance to give me a feeling of cumin woods. I get a hint of Declaration, which is another Cartier fragrance, but a much more toned down version. It also has a kind of like generic green grooming product vibe, which actually I do like because it's done in a very balanced way. And you know, this fragrance, another thing that popped into my head was it has very much a similar structure or a very much similar feel to a couple of modern fragrances that are really popular, Chanel's Bleu de Chanel and Dior's Sauvage. But I actually think, even though it's been a while since I've tested those fragrances, I actually think the Pasha is better. So I've actually done a little spray just to remind myself. There is an element of sweetness in this fragrance, and it has a greenness, a mintiness. There is this woody, generic kind of woody, ambery woody kind of effect, but it has this refinement, which I quite like. It has a very gentlemanly feel. And I also feel like it has a mass appeal as well. I think Pasha, while it's not like some spectacular fragrance, it's a very solid. I feel it feels very reliable. I've been really enjoying wearing this one. And yeah, you know, maybe I will get this fragrance in a full-size bottle. I've never owned a Cartier I'm pretty sure I've never owned a Cartier fragrance. I'll have to one day get one. So yeah, or maybe I will go for the Parfum version. So the Parfum version, I have actually reviewed this one, and this wasn't created by Jacques Cavalier. It was actually created by Mathilde Laurent, who is the in-house perfumer for Cartier. I quite like it when these big fashion houses have these in-house perfumers. You can sometimes pick up on a style that perfumer has. Yeah, so this fragrance was released in 2020. It's described as contemporary, a contemporary fougere composition with woody and ambery features, which include notes of patchouli, sandalwood, fir balsam, labdanum, benzoin, and an ambrosinide molecule along with tonka bean. So I think that there are probably more differences with this fragrance compared to the original, but now that I've sort of properly tested both, and I've pretty much come to almost got like one spray left of this decant, there are also some similarities, and they may not be obvious at first, but I will go through them in a second. So what do I get with the Parfum version? Well, the Parfum version adds a liquor note, which I don't believe was in the Fragrantica listing, but I know that they have mentioned, I've seen that on other websites. And that does come through. It's not overly boozy, and I don't find this overly sweet. I have heard some people say it's like a little bit too sweet for them. It doesn't go in that direction for me. It never goes in that, you know, like the typical men's designer fragrances that are out today, which are just way too sweet, you know. And this one, it is done there. It is in there with a nice little balance. It is floral and boozy, which I quite like. It has very piney element, which I quite like, a coniferous feel. And there are so many different things going on in this fragrance. It's like a mixture of like every kind of accord that's out there mashed into one fragrance, but actually it turns out to me to be actually quite nice. There is a kind of blue shower jelly feel like you might get in Sauvage, but not overdone. Again, in balance, like the EDT, where you have this grooming product feel. It's like that in here as well. I mean, it looks like they haven't taken that element of the fragrance out, which to some people might be a little bit annoying. It might be a bit generic, but I like it. I like the way it smells, and that's the most important thing to me. I've done a little spray on my wrist. It's nice. It's very long lasting. It's very strong. There's almost like a baked cookie kind of vibe in here. I know I said it wasn't overly sweet, and it's not, but it's just there with some nice wood, with a nice woody backbone. It gives you it almost hints at being an ambery style fragrance, but not in the way that Tom Ford Amber Absolute or Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan is, but it's almost like a watered down ambery feel. So I've been mentioning things like that, and green grooming product feel in the EDT, sort of a shower jelly feel and a sweetness in the Parfum. But I guess you really have to smell it to maybe make your own mind up. I think all of those things actually are good in here because they're done in a nice way. Overall, which one do I prefer? I would have to go for the original. I think the original really just grabbed me a little bit more, but I can't really put my finger on why. It's a bit of a mysterious thing. I can't really explain. But if you guys know which one you prefer and why you prefer which version of Cartier's Pasha, then let me know in the description. Guys, thanks so much for watching. I can just about get my words out here, but yeah, thanks for your support. I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Thanks everyone. Bye.